Dynamic would want to go ahead and force a situation where first pick they can grab Urgot, Kog'Maw, Alistar, or Jax. I think any one of those 4 first pick would just win them the game outright. Urgot and Kog'Maw being banned out right now. Expecting a Jax ban from MTW, if just to make sure that no one can go ahead and pick that up, because
there's particularly since we see the Karthus ban. And Karthus against those kind of bruisers does very well. You have the AoE. You're going to be able to take down the team very easily. And we've seen with MTW a lot of times they like running that double AP comp where they run Vladimir and Karthus. It has great synergy. It's great late game. We see the Soraka ban, just a strong all-around ban. We'll have to see whether or not we ban the Jax or if we just kind of continue with it. I'm hoping we're going to ban it, but if they feel comfortable with just having the team fight based around it, then that would be fine as well. We do see that Alistar ban once again from Dynamic, not going to allow Muffin Cutie to play his main.
Yeah, if Jax is banned here, that leaves Janna open, and I would imagine that Dynamic would just go ahead and straight up take the Janna, and Janna is banned, so Jax is open. May very well just take it again first pick, because MTW top lane, Malphite could only do so much, and a Jax first pick could be pretty devastating and really just lead the way for the rest of the MTW picks. It's like, okay, you forget the rest of the team. How do we deal with Jax? And sometimes that can lead to disaster. But for now, these are clear cut the same exact bans from game 1.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand, not banning the Jax. I think that he was still pretty disruptive, and it's the fact that you have to focus him down, otherwise you lose. You saw they started to turn onto Graves, and then they started to lose those kind of matchups. But I don't know. Regardless, we'll have to see. Malphite did a really strong job there. There's the Jax pick. So just a strong all-around pick. Definitely makes sense. The big thing with Jax, if you go 2 carries, then which one are you going to choose to focus down? It's a tough decision. Then even if you don't have that kind of team fight advantage with the Jax, you can always split push them. You can stall off to late game. MTW, they have shown some aggressive pushing, but usually they let the games get going a little bit before they start pushing, like to the 20-minute mark, and that's going to put Jax right into that perfect kill time when he's all farmed.
I just had a thought, because MTW, they've been known in the past for some pretty far out and crazy strategies, and I'm wondering if perhaps they want to do to possibly try and initiate a situation where they can lane switch.
Yeah, that's definitely a good situation against Jax. Having the bot lane go top works out well. We do see Riven and Graves. The nice thing about the Riven is they can either go top or in the jungle.
I'd imagine jungle, I think.
See, it's weird. I mean, I'm not sure, how much Xmithy plays the Riven pick. It works both ways. Riven against Jax top. Riven has an early advantage, so with the early advantage, if you can pick up kills, that's huge. Riven does have the stun when Jax jumps onto her and then has plenty of follow-up damage, so it is actually a pretty even lane if they decide to go there. But you're right, it is also a strong jungle as well.
Yeah, I think at this point I'd imagine seeing Riven in the jungle, because granted the damage output from Riven is pretty high. A lot of the damage output from Riven is also coming in from the passive after you clear your abilities, and the dodge from Jax can go ahead and get rid of most of that, and you come in, you do your burst. Riven has to have some pretty good reaction time in order to properly get a stun after Jax goes ahead and leap strikes in, but still, Jax may be stunned, but the damage has already been done in a huge burst. Corki and Taric being grabbed from Team Dynamic, so that's going to be a very huge armor shredding bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, the armor shred with Corki, it's just so much burst damage. You have the Taric as well. Graves works pretty well against that. You can get the dash off after Taric throws off the stun. And then you have the passive, so you're going to be a little bit safe. We'll have to see what kind of a support they'll put with him. Leona, the issue with the Leona is, Graves Leona is such an aggressive bot lane. It is a really strong bot lane. We have seen MTW run it before. Ooh, the Blitzcrank would be even more fun. But the thing with the Leona is that Leona is such an aggressive champion. You need to play on the offensive. Tarek could maybe pick up kills there. You throw off the stun while Leona's out of position, you follow it up, then that's kind of a dangerous situation for them. So I don't know if they want to go with an all-out kind of support like Leona. Blitzcrank definitely makes sense, though, because you have plenty of burst damage with the Blitzcrank and Graves combo, but then you get to play a little bit defensively. You sit on the back line, you wait for your pulls, you pick them off. That's going to be a really nice situation. Then later on in the game, not only is the pop-up going to be really devastating for Jax, but it's also going to have the silence. So the silence as well is going to be a really nice matchup. It can just, has a lot of burst damage, AoE, and then also a lot of disruption for someone like Jax who needs to be using his abilities.
Plus, you get to the team fight phase, and now I'm thinking, this is how you defeat Jax. You kill and pick off the rest of the team so you can focus him down. And Blitzcrank does that absolutely in spades. And you've seen from Dynamic, they do like to travel in packs and clump up, and this should be easy pickings for Blitzcrank, but I use the word should there because sometimes things can go awry. Rise and Olaf, so we'll see Nintendo on his token champ Olaf in the jungle here.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Dynamic has almost the exact comp that they want. They have, just such a great late-game team. They have so much damage. They have so much tanking capabilities. The only concern is that early game could be a little bit weak, and we'll see if we actually send Vladimir top and then Riven in the jungle and Morgana mid. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So having that Morgana pick will allow them for a lot of really great early aggression. This is actually, we could see a double jungle. We did see, I'm trying to remember who we saw try and run double jungle against Jax. And it's actually a very similar team comp to that.
I'm looking at my notes real quick. Hold on 1 second. Who did we have the double jungle with? God, who was it? It wasn't too far away.
Alternate, maybe?
I think you are right. Yes, it was alternate. Alternate versus Navi.
So alternate versus Navi, they ran almost this exact same comp against a Jax. They have the double jungle. That's not what we're seeing here. We're just going to see a Blitzcrank support. Right. But even so, it is going to be a really aggressive time. They have plenty of CC for their team. They are going to be able to get those pop-ups, all those disables on Jax. And here's the thing: you get the early advantages. And Jax is weak early. He can't proceed in the fights. Olaf okay early, but not really as great as you would like. So lots of AoE damage, lots of disables. They can really quickly take early advantages, and Riven is an early game jungler as well, is just so powerful in early game fights. So they're really going to try and snowball really quickly. So it's actually a really nice team comp. Vladimir versus Jax top. Now, that's where they're going to be having the most problems. And Vladimir early does have the harass advantage against Jax, but it's really not significant enough to shut him down. Then once Jax kind of gets going, really starting at level 5, Jax can just start diving after Vladimir, harass him a little bit. Then once he really gets going, 10 to 15 minutes in, you're actually going to see Jax trying to pick up kills against Vladimir. Now, Vladimir does have the pull, and so that's going to give him a nice little disengage, but you also lose out on some health. So we'll have to see how that matchup kind of works out for them. But their AoE damage, their late game is really nice. Not as strong as Dynamics, but the fact that they have all these disables in these team fights and all that magic damage and all that AoE is going to be awesome. And we'll see. I mean, if we hit some cool Blitzcrank hooks early on, then the game could just be completely over almost instantly.
The Blitzcrank is going to be absolutely key here for MTW. If Blitzcrank is not effective, if he doesn't land his targets, if he does not get the pulls, MTW's team could actually go down pretty quick. But there's also the advantage here. Blitzcrank can be pretty good on getting the early jungle invades as well. We can just go ahead, grab the blue buff from over the wall, and keep it out of Nintendo's grasp. Now, Nintendo on Olaf, it is a pretty dangerous thing once it gets rolling, but denying the jungle farm, denying the buffs to Olaf could also shut him down completely, allowing lanes like bot to farm pretty freely. And if you can go ahead, if Blitzcrank and Graves can actually get pretty farmed, this could spiral out of control.
Yeah, and the big issue is that when we look at the MTW versus Dynamic, Olaf is a pretty fast jungler, and so we'll see. Coming into that top lane, Olaf can definitely chase down Vladimir, and we have seen that before. You get off the cleaves, if you can, hit that axe, you have that follow-up potential. But Riven versus Olaf early, you have a huge potential for kills, and we'll actually see some dueling early, but we have the invade. We have such a strong level 1. They are going to try and go for this, just come and right out steal that blue. And so without that blue, Olaf loses some of his jungling speed, since a lot of it's due to his spam ability.
Checking the bush, make sure no one's there. Muffin Cutie leading the charge, and mTw will actually back off for the time being. Ping's going down on Dynamic near the blue buff, just to make sure that where we're going, where is the jungle going to be secured for Olaf for the first level. But mTw playing now a little bit defensive, thinking that they may be invaded, knowing that there was no one in the bush protecting the blue for Dynamic at the time. So now taking position, taking a perch in the bush by their own blue, not knowing that Dynamic is actually playing it nice, safe, and defensive in their mid.
And here's the really nice thing about Zion Spartan's little perch up here. If he knows, all right, if we're trying to have an aggressive invade from mTw, if they come up in this tri-bush, then I'll see them, I'll be able to get out of there, we'll be fine. Otherwise, I can come, my team, we don't want to just be walking into this bush and expecting they're not at the blue yet. They see we're actually going to try and just come all at once in case mTw is still there. Maybe only 3 of them are there. We have the axe from Olaf, so we can check. Zion Spartan coming down as well. They get the vision, so they know they're safe. So blue secured, not that big of a deal. And we will see Rivens as well. So, that will allow for some early aggression, and Olaf will be just fine in this jungle.
It doesn't actually look all too impressive. It looks very standard, but that was actually quite possibly one of the most genius things for Dynamic to do in that situation. Just go lead in with the axe, with the undertow, everyone behind in a line for to try and go for the counter the invade, but since no one was there, it wasn't of course all too flashy. But here we go. Riven now coming in, the bind coming in from Morgana onto Paradox with a stun, doing extra harass down there as well. But Riven seems to got a little bit more damage out of that exchange than Rise did.
Yeah, that's
kind of awkward.
He's trying to kind of force him back, wants him to play defensively early, get an early advantage. It's not effective enough. And we see Zion Spartan just coming right onto Vladimir here. He knows, we have the range advantage for Vladimir, but once I get up right into his face, I have the massive advantage in dueling. So, get off some early advantage, make him play a little bit more defensively, and, we'll see how that affects the farm. But as the game progresses, that's definitely going to be a concern. In the meantime, we see Nintendo coming up into this red, and unfortunately, Xmithy was low. We did see it earlier, and he actually steals the red, and Xmithy is low, has to flash out of over there, so he will be okay. But Nintendo with the successful counter jungle, Xmithy trying to rush the smite. Unfortunately, he kind of missed timing it, so he had plenty of health left on that red. The quick steal from Nintendo.
Mandatory Cloud also knowing that the Olaf is around, wanted to peek around the corner just to see if she was being engaged upon to get the bind, but Mandatory Cloud will be fine. Going to continue pushing on in the mid, and actually just look at the bot lane here. Atlanta and Muffin Cutie being quite aggressive, a nice healthy wave, and there's not a whole lot Dynamic can do about this for the time being, because they know one Blitz can grab, and it could be over nearly just like that, nearly just that quick, but Zig a little bit too close for comfort, but we'll see. mTw will continue to push if given the opportunity, and there's also a nice ward in the tri-brush nearby as well, just in case Nintendo wants to come in and help out his bros. But for now, though, you gotta watch out for that hand.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be aggressive, and the big thing is Graves is one of the stronger champions in the game at pushing you into the tower. So Graves can constantly push Corki and Tarek into the tower. Then when Corki's trying to farm underneath the tower, there's the threat that Blitzcrank can still get off that pole, and we do see Olaf going to be down here. Unfortunately, Riven also coming top, and Riven versus Jax is a great matchup. He will have plenty of mobility, gets off the stun. There's actually the follow-up, so the Q and the stun get off some nice damage. And so Zion Spartan a little bit behind now will allow Vladimir to hit 6 before Zion Spartan does. And then also, if they can push the lane into the tower, deny some experience, that'll be absolutely huge.
It was a little bit glitchy there during that engage, because you saw Riven dashed and Jax leap strike at Riven pretty much at the same time. So it's like Jax jumping onto where Riven was and then readjusting. It was a little strange, but it worked out. And gank not that successful, but some damage going down, forcing Jax to back. What did he pick up? Doran's ward and potions.
Yeah, and so the Doran's, he has a little bit more dueling potential, and that's what he wants. He wants to have that kill potential versus Vladimir. He wants to have enough health to survive through Vladimir's AoE while Vladimir is pulled, and he definitely has that. You know, we'll have to see how that lane continues to progress. Just jumping right onto man balls has plenty of damage. We do have the Ignite up still, but he doesn't have enough cooldown reduction. So at this point in the game, Jax has really high cooldowns. Vladimir will be able to get out of there and farm. Unfortunately, Vladimir not able to deny the experience against Jax, so Jax going to catch up a little bit. We see the hook almost being able to grab there, but otherwise it's fine. 2
tomes being picked up for Vlad. Going to be working it towards the Hextech Revolver. I'm actually a little bit surprised. I think a Doran Shield purchase could actually benefit Ball's top lane a little bit here as well. The extra armor and the health regen and the health could actually work out quite nicely. But to get the Revolver, to get the Sustain, to get the Spell Vamp could also work very well too.
Yeah, there are a lot of times where you will see that Doran's Blade coming out onto some champions. The issue is it really puts back your build, and it will make him a little bit safer. We actually have to bind over the wall, not going to grab anything. It will make you a little bit safer in lane, but it actually doesn't increase your dueling potential that much. It you know, doesn't increase your regen that much. The regen from the Dorans is pretty weak, actually. We actually see the hook. Oh, almost grabbing Pixel.
So close every single freaking time.
But mTw so far
being
the aggressors here, but unfortunately we have Olaf coming in behind Manballs. He will have his pull, so he will be able to get out of there, but actually not before some damage goes off. He's not using it, will back off now, and he is pretty low, so he's going to be zoned out now. Jax going to get a huge gold advantage off of this. Vladimir needs to back off. Actually now, you know, they are going to push, so he will be able to farm underneath the tower, but they're kind of trying to set up to you know, dive him, and unfortunately for them, Morgana is coming up as well. Wants to see if they can get this kill.
Manballs, the name of the game right now is to survive, but looks like Dynamic does have their 6th Sense going on, and by 6th Sense I mean a ward in that Tribrush. They know Riven and Morgana are here, so they need to back off. TD, bot lane, Dynamic will go ahead and back Corki, buying 2 Dorans to go back into the bot lane with a little bit extra damage, health, and life steal there. But yeah. Oh, the hook. Nice hook from Blitzcrank going on to Paradoxical in the mid. The bind does not go down, neither does the pop-up. A little bit of a missed opportunity there. It could have been a lot more from that.
I mean, if we had the pop-up, if we had the bind, either one of those, that would have been a kill. So, unfortunately, not able to follow up on it. It would be nice to get that first blood gold. We do see Riven coming up here, and the big thing is I think she's waiting for Jax to dive.
She knows there's a ward in the bush. That's the thing. She knows there's a ward in the bush, wants to stay inside, wants to stay just far enough away, and now here's the approach. Zion Spartan was already dedicated to going in, but to now just take a little bit of a detour. So it looks like Xmithy was actually going towards the small golems.
Well, the big thing is it's the timing of Xmithy's run up here, and so Jax wants to get in on Manballs, will have plenty of kill potential, and so enabling that huge creep wave to hit Vladimir. It was a major gold and experience wave building up, and so by Xmithy going at the time that he did, Jax, instead of diving, had to back off. It allowed Vladimir to get that farm, and so he will be safe, but we can continue to see this huge push down bottom, just denying some of that farm from Corki. Zig's doing a pretty good job here, but they're also pushing down the tower, getting some nice aggression there.
I love that buckshot and the dash away, just right under tower, just to ensure that they don't draw tower aggro. Wonderful, crazy stuff from Atlanta. And there's still, the first blood still hasn't happened. There's still yet to be a kill 9 minutes in. It's a little bit crazy. Wards going down in that bush from Pixel to ensure that there is vision on Muffin Cutie at all times. Speed boost is going down. Could get a grab on someone. Everyone's in close. Zig was close enough. There is the pop-up onto Zig. Exhaust going down onto Atlanta, and Pixel is in pursuit. The ult is popped onto Tarek, but mTw will get away.
Yeah, and so they are safe. The Valkyrie getting him out of there before the silence actually went. Oh, no, level 5 for Blitz, so doesn't have the silence yet. You know, so he is going to be fine. We do see Jax once again jumping onto Vladimir, gets little nice chunks of health, and unfortunately the wave is pushing into Vladimir, or into Jax, so Vladimir will be zoned a little bit. Rise coming up, Mandatory Cloud should be fine here. You know, we'll probably see mTw trying to go for Dragon shortly, and a big part of that is if they can force bot to leave.
Top lane actually getting chunked out pretty here. Crazy. There's the flash and more damage coming from Zion Spartan, but the Ignite is on to Vladimir. He's going to have no choice but to back off from now. He's way too low.
And so if we, see an aggressive dragon, Morgana has that early advantage in those team fights. They will be pretty safe doing it, if they can force back this bot. We do see ManCloud able to pick up this blue. Unfortunately, Intended coming up. He has his ultimate as well, so we have the shield. It doesn't block the Q or the E.
Oh.
There's actually the first blood, so the little bounces from Rise, able to pick up that kill. The spell flux just way too strong.
It was already targeted. Riven had no choice but to flash away, but it was already targeted. It was already on red. The animation finished, so it will follow Riven to her endpoint and, well, not only to the flash endpoint, but to her actual endpoint and die for the first blood going on over to Rise. So right here,
so far, definitely a huge advantage for Dynamic being able to pick up that first blood, and they've had the farm advantage in these lanes as well. And we do have a really aggressive mid-game team from MTW. They have plenty of disables, so this disables will allow them to kite Jax a little bit, just burst them down, and that's what they really want to do. But if they fall too far behind, then they won't be able to do it. We see the double Doran's Blade for Riven will be extremely aggressive. Hasn't really been able to get off those ganks that you would like. We've had good board coverage from Dynamic so far, so not really able to get off the kills you would like. Riven extremely aggressive early, but can't snowball right now.
Yeah, Riven will secure the red, then going up get small golems, but now it's what do you do about top lane? Jax just continues to push balls once again, just like game one though, doing a good job. And the best thing you could possibly do in this situation is just not die. 73-64, the creep lead isn't that huge, but Jax fought the Phage, has one Doran's. Do have the revolver on the Vlad, will keep the sustain up, so it's good on him. We'll be able to stick in the lane a little bit while longer and mitigate some more of the harass from Jax as well. It's still a bit of a toss-up, but a well-farmed Vlad can also be quite a dangerous thing. And if there are no kills going down on Vlad, that could allow Vlad to get the farm he needs.
Yeah, and the big thing would be nice to see Vladimir get some armor, and so once he gets like a chain vest, he will be fine.
Yep.
Jack's just able to just jump on him repeatedly, and that's the concern. He has so much damage as the game progresses. It's so difficult to trade with Jax, so he really needs to get a little bit of armor out. He can build into that Zhonya's, or he might just stop with the armor and then continue a regular build.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see how they kind of do that. We do see though they are coming up for this dragon, and so not only do they have a really safe dragon team with the Morgana pick, but Olaf is top, so they know, all right, there's not really a big threat of them stealing it.
Zhonya's would be a pretty good call for balls right now at this point. Just the armor and the extra damage. There's going to be a lot of focus going down on it as well. Olaf can protect against the true damages from him as well. And just, any disables that Rise may want to put out or damage as well. We'll be able to secure the large golem, but balls will have no choice but to retreat, have to come back, possibly finish a small golem later if Jax does not decide to take it out. But the pull, how did that not hit Pixel? I'm so befuddled about that, but the stun going down onto Atlantis, some extra damage going down there from Corki, but still the pressure bot lane continues. The farm gap is widening, 118-106, not the biggest gap now, but it's still, the fact that it still exists and is continuing to grow wider, and Corki having no choice but to really just sort of sit back. Small golem was being considered and taken as well.
Yeah, and we could maybe see a dive against Vlad. He's one of the toughest champions in the game to dive, but they kind of just want to continue putting on that pressure. And so far, they have a really nice late game. They have a really tanky team that just has so much sustained damage, and they are coming up here. Riven actually walking right into him. We will see a snare. The flash from Paradoxical, able to grab it off. Smithy going down very quickly, and now Vladimir has to break off. So this is the second turret for Team Dynamic up there. In the meantime, I'll go back a step. We do see some nice aggression from mTw down in the bottom lane. Pixel, it seems like he's probably going to get the pull. There's actually the pull. Oh, he goes in for the stun on Atlanta. Then we have the burst damage, the silence as well, just dropping almost immediately, so they are able to pick up that kill.
Yep.
Atlanta chasing after Zig. We still have the pull, though, not going to use it. And so Team Dynamic able to pick up the tower in this top lane.
Yeah, while the top lane tower does fall, Atlanta still, without getting too aggressive onto Zig, they can still increase their presence in the lane, but now it's gotten to the point where Zig, Gatling gun, can just go ahead. Pushing to the tower is not going to be as effective because all the burst damage Zig can dish out. The Morgana ult going down, getting the stun off onto Zion Spartan, but the tower does fall. No extra damage going to be coming from there, and now it's just Dynamic taking these objectives super aggressively. 2 towers, the top are gone. Mid tier 1 is gone. Zig is down bottom, pressuring down tier 1 down there after Atlanta has been doing the same to him this entire game. And still with all the pressure Atlanta has been giving down bot, the tower still lives.
Yeah, and just a huge farm advantage for Team Dynamic right now. The early map control is huge, and mTw not really able to get off the floor. You know, I don't know, just not really able to do anything. And the big deal is that top lane is just pressured so hard. The Jax, you know, is working out very well. Vladimir has the AoE damage and it has a lot of sustainability in fights, and they have the CC to take down Jax once they group up. Unfortunately, Jax can just split push constantly, and no one can handle him.
Wow.
We have the Ghost from Manballs, has to get out of there. Just hardly regenning anything, and so no one can handle Jax right now, which is going to allow them to split push if they like and continue to just be, you know, as aggressive as they are in the other lanes. And there's just not a whole lot that mTw can do about it because they can't pressure any objectives.
Atlanta does manage to take the bot tier 1 tower finally after all this time, but in the process been away from the rest of the team. Mid tier 1, top 1 and 2 have gone down in the time it took for Atlanta to finally pressure down that tower. So now maybe best option to just go ahead and join with the rest of the team. Unlike game 1 when Atlanta was on Sivir, just sticking down bot and continuing the farm while the rest of the team was off dying may be in the best interest for mTw to now possibly group up as a full 5. The pressure from Science Spartan down top lane, too much. Still too much for Balls to really contend with. I mean, Balls should definitely have a sufficient amount of gold by now. Chain Vest would absolutely be a good option right now. How much gold does he have right now, actually?
I think the one issue, though, with going with the Chain Vest, I mean, he has, you know, probably enough to buy it.
He's got plenty.
The issue with going with the Chain Vest, and it is something that would have been nice to see some armor against Jax, at this point in the game, he has to kind of make the decision between, you know, laning against Jax and just being viable in the team fights. And if he went with the Chain Vest now, he just wouldn't have enough damage to contribute to the fights, and that's kind of what they're hanging their hat on right now. They really need to be able to win these fights, and, you know, if he kind of weakens himself in that regards, then that's another victory for Jax. So
yeah.
He probably won't buy it. He'll probably just go for you know, some more damage items, or he could go for HP if he likes. But I don't know, we'll have to see. It's just that's the kind of pressure that Jax is putting on him, and it's just making it really difficult. We do see Atlanta pressuring this bottom lane. As long as they can just kind of keep the lane split, not allow Dynamic to get any sort of pushing opportunities, then mandatory or mTw could maybe, you know, find opportunities to gank or find opportunities to push down towers and force fights where their team is still pretty strong.
Do also consider there is a significant amount of armor shred. Tarek and Corki can do quite a bit of damage. Actually, we got the flash ult from Mandatory Cloud trying to get on Jax. Zion Spartan does leap over the wall to the ward, trying to get the safety, but there's going to be a little bit too much CC for Jax to deal with, and Mandatory Cloud will actually get the kill.
Yeah, and the flash from Morgana, probably not necessary, but wanted to guarantee the kill. Knows that they just need to take him down. We actually see Nintendo getting stunned. We will see the pull
just
missing.
juked.
So, you know, it's going to be fine there, but regardless, they will back off. They get the 2-2 even up. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, Graves versus Corki now, the concern is Graves has a lot of burst damage, but in the 1v1, Corki is probably actually a little bit stronger than Graves is right now. So, that's, you know, definitely going to be a concern. The fact that Jax can win the top lane, split push the top lane, Corki can win the bottom lane, and at Team Dynamic right now, they don't even have to fight because they don't want to walk into the Morgana ultimate.
I'm thinking right now, I'd like to see. We don't have the Philo Stone yet onto Blitzcrank, but I'd like to see an Aegis of the Legion be built. If anything, just to try and counteract some of the armor shred on Dynamic right now. Olaf has actually already built one for his team, so everyone in those team fights is going to be slightly more tankier. And now also a little bit richer as well. Dynamic has just taken the Dragon, and mTw is going to find out a little bit too late. But though we're Muffin Cutie pushing up with the speed, but will not be able to catch up to the rest of Dynamic. But see, now Dynamic has done such a good job pressuring all these objectives. The gold lead has actually extended to their favor, despite it being 2-2. But 4 towers down to mTw have only taken 1.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And one of the things that mTw does have going for them is just the game changer that, you know, Blitzcrank, Muffin Cutie, if he hits a pull, all of a sudden you can win any sort of fight. And if you can get the 4v5 advantage, you hit the quick pull, burst someone down, that's going to be huge. But now we do see, with both Jax and with Olaf, they have plenty of Baron damage, so they're going to drop it really quickly.
There's the pull onto Nintendo, gets bound by Morgana, but pops the ult in an effort to try and get away. This is enough for Dynamic to disengage off of Baron and force them to retreat.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the issue, is the fact that even if they get the pull, they might not be able to pick up the kill, but if they can, then it's huge. They force Dynamic to back off. Dynamic knows they have a lot of damage, but aren't really able to take care of it. Let's see if Pixel grabs an Oracle. No, he is not. So, but he actually grabs the pink ward, which is going to be nice. And some of the wards die, but you saw just a second ago, Dynamic had MTW had wards all around the Baron. So a single pink ward won't be enough to do it. So they will have nice vision there. Won't allow that kind of sneaky Baron to happen again.
Yeah, MTW really only knew because there's one errant ward still in the top river. Saw Jax go by and actually saw him leap.
Well, they saw them walk by. There was a ward here too, so they saw them walk by ward here. It just died.
Yeah. So there's still sufficient ward coverage, and MTW is just going to go ahead and take the advantage. Jax seen in bot lane. This is their cue to go ahead and push mid tower. If Jax may decide to change his attention to the mid if things get a little bit too hairy, but for now, the 4 remaining members of Dynamic are still enough to dissuade MTW. But top lane, Balls is actually getting a pretty healthy wave onto this tower.
Yeah, and so he's actually going to be able to kill this tower, which is going to be pretty nice. Give him a little bit of farm advantage. Unfortunately, Jax split pushing bottom, and so the rest of his team could pressure that Baron. We see actually Zig chasing after Manballs. He has the Ignite, very quickly going to be able to pick up that kill, and that's just embarrassing. I mean, it is part of the issue. AD versus the AP like Vladimir. Vladimir will be very strong in fights, but against an AD carry, he just has no chance. And even if Corki wasn't really strong right now, Vladimir would lose that matchup. That's why a lot of times AD's top works, because you can go against champions like Vladimir and be so effective. But even so, to not be able to get out of there fast enough is really kind of disappointing. And so Jax getting some momentum bottom. All of Team Dynamic is over here. We do have the pink ward. They kind of want to watch out, though, and they're trying to bait in the ward, and Dynamic knows it. So actually the pull onto Rise.
Whoa,
Rise gets the flash over, so he's fortunate enough for that.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird how that happened. Paradoxical gets pulled on over, but the flash
He really got lucky, because the snare, they changed the snare a while ago, where if you're snared, then you can't flash. So basically what happened was the snare and the flash hit at the same time. So it counted him as snared, but allowed him to flash still, and so he was safe there.
So I know it's a little bit of luck can pay in dividends as well. But Mandatory Cloud after that, we'll go ahead and try to secure the blue. Zion Spartan is not too far away though. You pull the golem. Zion Spartan knows. There goes the shield onto Morgana.
Oh, Morgana still got it.
Jax
got it. Didn't beat the pull.
Nice. Good on Morgana, but still going to go ahead and meet themselves once again in bot lane, but Morgana knows it may not be the best idea to try and 1v1 Jax right now. There is still a ward in that river side bush, so Dynamic's location is known to MTW. Jax is far away, so this may actually be a nice opportunity for MTW to pressure Baron themselves. Oracle's onto Blitzcrank to clear all the wards necessary.
The issue is, I don't even know if MTW could take the Baron with the 4 here. We do see a full engage, though. Morgana and Riven coming around the backside. They're going to get the stun off here. Zig has to flash over the wall. Mandatory Cloud with the Zonias will just barely survive, so we have a quick fight for MTW. And so, unfortunately, though, Jax is going to be able to get the second turret, and that's kind of surprising from Dynamic. They need to play defensively right now when Jax is split pushing. They don't need to fight, so they can just disengage pretty easily. If MTW wanted to go after the Baron, then, the 4 of them, 4v5, they could easily fight MTW, but Jax pushing bot is perfectly fine, and Corki with that red buff going to chase them away. They should be fine, though.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a focus needed here on MTW on the objectives they want to go. It seemed for a second like they wanted to pressure Baron. Then they found members of Dynamic. They got one of them and then backed off. Then it looks like they're going to try and pressure mid. Then they backed off. So now it's a little bit of decision making. Need to make something. They need to make something happen at this point, because otherwise Jax is just quite the monster and will split push them the rest of the game. So they need to do something while Jax is off doing his thing.
And the issue is that Dynamic is in the driver's seat right now, and Dynamic, they don't really want to group up and have a big fight with MTW. MTW, that's what they want right now. They want to just have a big fight, throw off the Morgana ult, see if they can kill everyone in the AoE. So Dynamic is perfectly fine with split pushing Zion Spartan all day, and that works well for them. They, have a really close range team, so if they were to try and push down a turret, that would be to mTw's favor. So Dynamic doesn't want to push because then Morgana's just going to have an easy flash initiation right on top of him. Dynamic doesn't want to go for Baron because, again, mTw is going to have an easy flash initiation. So what Dynamic is doing is just split pushing Jax, running all over the map, taking advantages, and as a result, mTw has to follow. mTw can't pressure anything either, because if they try and push, then Jax is going to just wreck one of their lanes. If they try and go for Baron, then they're going to get low, and Team Dynamic is just going to come shut them down at the Baron, pick up a number of kills.
But however, though, if Jax is always split pushing and mTw is still able to win one of these 4v5s straight out 4-0, this leaves every member of mTw open to just go ahead, shove a lane in, and a full team will be more than able to push a lane more effectively than one lone Jax, or at least that would be the hope. Binding going down a long distance onto Zig.
He's going to take some damage from Baron, actually.
Yeah, he is. It's a little bit better than a tower, actually. It's not too bad. But Muffin Cutie out in front, still looking to get the God grab, possibly through the wall. There it is. We got it. Onto Zion Spartan in the mid, trying to be focused down. It does actually flash back over the wall, but there's the flash over from Morgana in pursuit, and the Zonius as well. But she is alone from Western Team. But there's Riven getting the kill quick onto Zig. Pixel's not going to be able to get away too far either. And now Dynamic is in a full retreat. All of mTw is still here. What are they going to pressure? They could go for Baron if they really want to, but it looks like they're just more than happy with shoving on mid and trying to get the tower. And they make actually a tower or two off of this.
Yeah, and so there you see, that's why Dynamic is, split pushing, because they can't fight 1v1, or they can't fight 5v5 against mTw. mTw is just so strong right now in those kind of situations, despite how farmed everyone is on Dynamic. So Dynamic, they just kind of want to stall the game by pushing constantly. As the game progresses, though, Jax very quickly is going to be unstoppable, and you see he is close to finishing that GA. The GA on Jax, once we get past some of that burst damage, and he's comfortable with just sitting right up in front of them, attacking them down, won't be that big of a deal. If they burst him down, he comes back, the rest of his team is fine. Also, if he gets some health, like we see a Warmogs, we have seen that a lot recently, then very quickly he's just going to be so tanky, it's going to be difficult for them to burst him down. But right now, mTw's team is perfectly built for these kind of AoE fights, and it worked out to perfection there. It started off with the hook on Zion Spartan. You saw it took them a little bit to take him down. They didn't want to use their abilities, because their abilities, they need to hit their ultimates on like everyone on the team.
But Dynamic knows they're pinging Baron ferociously while they're all back as one, looking to come back up. But the Baron has been gone down rather quickly. The Dynamic definitely has the damage to do it, and there is the pull onto Zion Spartan. He's looking to bite a GA, but does not have it yet. He can still die pretty easy, but Riven does get singled out by most of the members of Dynamic. Bind going down onto Pixel. mTw cannot do a whole lot about this. That Baron buff is making Dynamic way too strong. And while they were not unable to win full 5v5s earlier, with the Baron buff, that gives them the little bit of that extra edge, and they managed to kill out Riven outright.
And the big thing is that mTw, ManCloud, he didn't have his ult yet, so he didn't want to go in with the ult. It is up now, but that entire fight, he didn't have it up, and so as a result, he had to back off. They, were kind of disorganized. They couldn't get the fight that they wanted, and Jax recognized it, so chasing him down. We do see, though, Jax coming down here. They don't really have vision of him, so he's going to be fine. We'll have to see. That Baron is definitely going to, last the game, make the game last for a little while. It's going to be difficult for Dynamic to still push. We do see Manlanta trying to go for this red, but he has to back out of there. Zion Spartan going to be able to pick it up. So with that Baron, Dynamic, they can't really push at this point, because it's still going to be in mTw's favor. If Dynamic tries to push, they will be, all grouped up underneath that tower. They don't want to allow that to happen. So what we'll probably see is just a split push with Jax. Four of the rest of them go down one of the lanes, play really defensively. They can't allow an engage to happen, and Jax is strong enough to 1v1 anyone, so he can just push down a lane by himself.
Yeah, so right now, mTw just needs to play defensive, wait for the Baron buff to expire. However, if Blitzcrank is in the neighborhood and Jax can be soloed out, or if he can solo out, get the great grab on one weaker member of Dynamic and grab Corki, grab Tarek either, and just get a quick kill on them, that could also work wonders. But we got a Quicksilver Sash being built onto Rise. The GA on Jax has finished, has an extra life, but Jax will not be split pushing. So right now, the aggression needs to be with the rest of the team. A full 5 push can go ahead and just take the towers outright.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult though. So, you know, they can't sit underneath these towers. We will see really nice clearing from Morgana, so they will have to back off. They are trying to pressure it, so I don't know if they're going to just expect Zion Spartan to just dive into the enemy team and just completely man up on them and be a boss, but I just don't see that being possible. So we could see some poke from Corki, try and get that down. We do have the bind on Nintendo. He will have his ultimate, but we actually see Jax jumping onto Atlanta, bursting him down almost immediately, and so we have the ult from Morgana. Unfortunately, it is not enough, and Team Dynamic is easily winning this fight. We do see Tarek going down, but Zion Spartan, he still has his GA, so he's going to be fine. Mandatory Cloud trying to get off the backside, but there's the snare. He will go down. And it all started with Jax being able to pick up the kill. And so, even though if mTw is safe, the towers should be fine. Graves getting up a little bit too close to try and clear those waves, because he's one of the people who has that burst to clear the waves, and it allowed Zion Spartan to just dive right on top of him. Being able to insta-kill Graves just completely won them that fight. So now this is an inhibitor that they're going to get for free. They can back off, and with that advantage, continue to pressure Team mTw.
Dynamic could also very well, if they want, they're just going to go ahead and keep on pushing. There's still another good 20 seconds before all of mTw will be back up. That is more than enough damage to go ahead and take out both of these Nexus turrets. They think they have, I'm pretty sure they've got enough time. Riven is up, ult is still down, and there we go, another engage, but Dynamic will go ahead and just take this one outright. Riven just absolutely melts. Muffin Cutie will not be able to get away, and that is it. The Nexus is open. Vlad and Morgana are back up, but it's not going to be doing quite a whole lot. Zig just focusing down onto Nexus. It doesn't matter who else is here, and that is it. Nexus goes down. Team Dynamic is your first NA team going to IPL5.
Yeah, so we both owe Nick a little bit of money.
Damn it!
So he's sitting out there, and I'm sure he's laughing to himself.
I'm sure Nick has the biggest smile on his face, like, yeah, I want some money off the casters. But you know what? I guess we kind of deserve that for not having that much faith in Dynamic.
I mean, they were really strong, and I think a lot of it has to do with that Jax pick.
It does. It really does.
Jax was absolutely brutal in both games. I don't know, mTw, they were scared of the Janna. Yeah, that is a very common pick for Pixel. They were scared of the Soraka. Soraka works very well with tanky teams, which Dynamic, they like running tanky bruisers. And so when you pair Soraka with those kind of champions, Olaf and Riven and whatnot, it's difficult to kill them. And that they didn't want to allow that to happen, so they banned the Soraka, unfortunately leaving out the Jax. Probably a little bit too strong, and so mTw not able to pull it around. They had plenty of CC, and that, you know, we saw the one fight, it did work out. We saw a couple of situations where Dynamic was a little bit scared of mTw and their initiation,
and rightly so.
But,
and absolutely rightly so, because Blitzcrank can just be an absolute monster. If you get the one hook, like I saw the fight near Baron, grabbed the Jax, isolated him for the rest of the team, and actually got him to retreat from that fight.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I mean, that was the fight that they won. Having Jax, he had to play a little bit on the defensive. They were able to, you know, take the advantage in that fight. Morgana was the big deal, though.
Oh, yeah.
Morgana coming in with the bind, with the snare, able to pick up the quick kill on Corki with the ultimate.
Yeah, but, you know what, unfortunate that just, you know, Jax too strong, man.
Yeah.
Jax way too strong. And it's not to say that there wasn't just a really good, you know, fight. You know, there wasn't really just a good comp for mTw, though. They definitely earned their way up to the finals, and no doubt I think we're going to see them again in finals for one of our following qualifiers. We still have 3 more qualifiers for NA, 3 more qualifiers for EU. There's still a lot of options for plenty of teams to get qualified, and not to mention, once we have the 4 from EU and 4 from NA, they're going to go ahead and play against each other. And not only for seeding, but the top seed from each will also get a free comped trip to IPL5.
Yeah, so that's definitely pretty exciting. But again, thanks guys for tuning in. This upcoming week, just you know, like you said a second ago, we will be having our next tournament. So IPL5 qualifiers, round 2, the Open Invitational. I don't know what
round 2, the Revenging.
Right,
starting Tuesday.
The Revenging.
Oh, this Tuesday.
Yeah. So
rated R. No, this is a PG-13 show. Right. At least we try.
we'll see, but yeah, it will be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be good, and you know, thank you for sticking around with us these past few weeks. This week in particular is incredibly busy, and you know, it's just a great day of matches. We got our first 2 teams. You can go ahead, just relax for a little while, but then again, Tuesday, start it all over again. So hey, you know what?
And we're going to start getting our community casters in
Yes,
there. So if you hadn't
absolutely.
heard, we did select our community casters, Studio and Quickshot for the EU, and then we also have Sola and Optimus Tom in the NA, and we're really looking forward to start scheduling them in for our next qualifiers, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to be showing a lot more of the matches that did not get to be broadcast. There's a lot of matches that I wish we did put on stream, but you know what? Now we have the opportunity to, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be fantastic, and we hope that you're there to join us all the way through. But for now, though, I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah.
So that's it. Qualifier 1 is now a wrap. We will see you Tuesday, starting up qualifier number 2. Have a good rest of the weekend. Enjoy it, and we will see you soon. Good night.